We're 100% focused in Kazakhstan, in fact, the northeastern part of the country. And it is a truly exciting part of the world that we're starting to see more and more visitors, I guess, shall we say, and other companies that are showing up and starting on. So the obligatory cautionary statements, as well as a technical disclaimer. So yeah, I said we're 100% focused in Kazakhstan. I'm based in Vancouver. My business partner, our CEO, who's a geologist, Tim Barry's based in Kazakhstan. We've got a couple of our colleagues here. Our chief geologist, Vlad, and Shenga just got in from Kazakhstan last night, so it's great to have them here. And also a strong technical advisory group. I know John Mark Stoudy's here in the audience as well. And so a lot of porphyry experience that we're really putting to work in Kazakhstan. Is really the first North American junior to get in here about 4 years ago. 120 million shares out, no warrants out. We're well financed, and so we raised capital last year right around where we're at right now at 85 cents, and that's adequate cash for us, not only for last year's activities but also for this year. And I'll talk a little bit about that. Market cap just under 100 million. And you can see there Tech Resources with a 10% shareholding, Sprott with about 10, and then various institutional and family office support as well. So our thesis 4 years ago when we first came into Kazakhstan was really that this was a country that was evolving and changing dramatically. They had adopted a new mining law largely based on Western Australia and Ontario and Quebec, in fact. And you'll see there about 4 years ago when we got involved, both Fortescue and Rio had quite big presence. The private equity group Resource Capital out of Denver had entered and acquired an asset, and then subsequently developed it and sold it to Zijin last July for just over $1 billion. But we felt that this was a place that with the mining law, the endowment, the change really in the country, and how easy it is to do work and how cost effectively it is, that we would see more and more interest. And we've seen that happen now. And so not only has Tech arrived, but Barrick, First Quantum, we've seen BHP come in through their Explorer program. B2 Gold's there now. Robert Friedland arrived last year with Ivanhoe. And just before Christmas, Endeavour Mining as well. And so Kazakhstan has clearly become a very important part, for critical minerals and energy, particularly for the European market. And it's smack dab in the middle of Central Asia, where a number of very significant metal belts collide together. Not too many parts in the world where you can point to 300 million ounces of gold, a few hundred kilometers away. You see that in the bottom left-hand corner in Uzbekistan, but, the big copper gold projects, throughout that belt. And that's one of the reasons that we're there. You can see in the northeastern part of the country. It's a mining country. Mining's very important here. You can see top 10 in the world on many of the things that we use every day. That picture on the bottom is a large-scale coal mine, literally out the back door of our office in a town called Ekibastuz, and that coal mine was started in 1954, and it still has a 100-year reserve in front of it. So it's brought a lot of infrastructure into this part of the world. A large-scale copper gold project in the top right-hand corner, Boshakal, which we highlight a little bit here. This is one of the lowest cost copper mines in the world. Produces copper for about $1 a pound, and it's not a high grade. It's in fact 0.3% copper and 0.13 grams per ton gold. And I want you to remember that, because as we get in through the presentation here, you're going to see what we're chasing after. And ultimately, you can see on that slide there in the top right-hand corner, our license package completely surrounds Boshakal. We kind of look over the edge almost to the open pit, and it's part of the reason that we're so excited about this part of the world and what we're doing. That's a look at the infrastructure. There's heavy rail, some of the highest voltage power lines in the world, and you can count those power lines for about 50 kilometers because you're 200 meters above sea level, and there's not many mountains to be seen. So it's a great and very easy place to operate. So I'm going to focus on our LMS license. This is kind of right in the middle. You can see of the over 3,300 square kilometers that we've assembled on this belt. It's about 500 square kilometers, but if we just look in the top left-hand corner of that license package, you see we're going to zoom in to that area. Joe had a chance to spend some time with us there, and about 2 years ago, we did a big soil program. Again, there's not much geology to work off of. It kind of looks like the floor in this banquet room. It's pretty flat, not a lot of geology to chase after, but effectively soils were quite productive. We identified two trends of north of 9-10 kilometers along strike, copper in soils. And then we're able to raise some money and follow up and do an initial drill program, which the first set of those results came out about 13 months ago. So it's still very early days, but you can see here across what we've got now, almost 30 holes across that 10-kilometer area. So it's a big area. But we're starting to find, 2, 3, 4, 500 meters of 0.4, 0.6, 0.8, 1% copper equivalent. Keep in mind that just down the road, 40 clicks from here, 45 kilometers from here, one of the lowest cost copper mines in the world is operating at effectively 0.5% copper equivalent. So we're in the ballpark, and we're really just getting started here. If we zoom in on the northern license, the northern part of that target, which is the Bereski North target, about a half a dozen holes that were completed there, primarily last year. The most recent of which was last month we announced. And we've got quite a high-grade breccia zone. And then as we come out of the breccia zone, we're starting to see the potassic alteration and the more traditional sort of porphyry style alteration that you'd expect to be able to build tons on. And so that's quite exciting. You'll see some more results from the last bit of drilling that we completed just before Christmas in December. That'll come out here over the next week or so. And then using modern techniques that really this part of the world hadn't been applied for. Once the Soviet Union collapsed in 1990, there really wasn't much exploration that took place in Kazakhstan or a lot of the former Soviet Union countries. And so things like MT and gravity, we've just completed last month. That's an MT slice on the right-hand side, and you can see most of the drilling we've done, 6, 7 holes on the right-hand side of the page, but there's maybe something a little bit deeper and a little bit to the west that's driving things. And so we're really in the process right now of vectoring and trying to find where the source of what's creating all this copper and gold at surface. If we look further south 5 kilometers, and again these are big distances, but along this trend, this is the second porphyry center. So we know that Bereski Central is a different porphyry center than at Bereski North. There's roughly 10 or 12 holes that have been done there, and again 0.3, 0.4, 0.5% copper equivalent from surface and growing. And so we've got a roughly 600 by 500 meter area. It's open along strike, and you'll see us continue to add to that. And then at Bereski East to the east, this is about 1.5 kilometers to the east. Again, 3 holes there. The drills are turning there right now. Vlad and Zhenka just came off there, and we've got 2 drills going now. And in about 2.5 weeks, we'll add another 2 drills between Bereski East, Bereski North, and Bereski Central. So, overall, still very early days, but we're on to what we think is a whole trend of copper gold porphyry potential, and finding deposits that are at grades and widths that obviously are very successful and are generating a lot of money just down the road. In addition to Elemis, the broader land package, we had a $5 million US generative exploration program that was completed last year. This was funded by Teck, our partner, over about 1,900 square kilometers. There was some quite a bit of geophysics, soil work, and some limited drilling that was completed. It's generated a number of different targets. We will be following some of that up this year. But roughly sort of 80% of our focus will continue to be on Elemis this year as we try to move these into a deposit stage. So as we hit the wind down here for the last minute or so, over the last 2 to 3 years, we've been able to take this large land package that, as I said, is very nondescript, not a lot of geology to follow up on, and quickly sort of move these along to different sort of levels of targeting. We're now at a point where we're in that target definition and heading towards resource definition at Bereski North and Bereski Central, with a whole slew of other targets that clearly we're still trying to figure out. But we're in a part of the world that we know that 0.3, 0.4, 0.5% copper prints cash. This is a jurisdiction that is probably the easiest jurisdiction I've ever worked, and you get your permits very quickly. The government's very supportive. And quite honestly, we wouldn't choose anywhere else to work. So It's a great place to be. We're continuing to be opportunistic. We've had great support from shareholders in the government. And just closing, that's a picture of the capital city. If you haven't been to Astana before, as has been told to us, if you haven't been to Kazakhstan in the last 5 years, you haven't been to Kazakhstan. It's truly evolving. We're seeing the world arrive. And it's got everything that the world needs today, and hence that's why we're seeing the majors show up. Thank you very much.